Just comb your hair, go and wash your face. It's been a real long time since you've seen the light of day. So let thoughts come as they may, beauty and parade. Everybody all smiles when you're back in the seat again. On aboard the Petty Express to a beautiful darkness. It's full steam ahead to ride the rails to our next destination. Yeah!
Hey guys, it's Mo from Mo in the Deep End, and we are finishing up day one in the probate hearing to determine if the Skelton brothers can be, deemed legally dead. We have learned a lot. I think that we have seen several professionals from the police chief in, oh gosh, I have forgotten the name of the town in minutes. I don't know why I have forgotten the name of the town. It's Morenci. Okay, Morenci, Michigan. So if you are not familiar with this case has been a true crime unsolved mystery for about 10 years. Well, for about 15 years. But it has been a case that has been a long time, coming. And these boys have not been seen for 15 years. Now, according to their father, John Skelton, between saying that he sent them home to his pastor with the distinct emphasis that that meant heaven, and so there several other, deeply incriminating statements. The story that he settled on was that he had to protect his sons from his wife. His wife, was doing some sort of bad, terrible things to him. So he found this secret underground railroad Amish organization that would take his children and they would hibernate until they graduate. Basically, he was so afraid of, Tanya having custody of his boys that he was willing to give them away to the Amish. Now, if you believe that story, I have a for-profit charity called Mo's House. 100% of the profits go to Mo's House. I am, in fact, more trustworthy than the government, so consider donating to Mo's House. I'm just kidding, you guys. But that is about where we are. Now, we are looking at the sort of lead detective in the case as it stands right now. It was decided between the FBI, local police, and the state police that the state police would kind of take custody of this case in, I believe, let me go back to these notes. Okay, so it looks like he started this in 2014. So this gentleman, it took several years to run down all of the, tips, to coordinate all of the files in this case. He had multiple conversations with John in prison. John is currently being held in prison right now for unlawful imprisonment and kidnapping of his 3 sons. He is, scheduled to be released after serving his full sentence this November. So I am speculating, and please take this as pure speculation. I am not a legalologist. I don't even do carfessionals in my car, though I will do one to roast Casey Anthony soon. But regular Mo never does carfessionals. Anyhoozle, I am speculating, and again, I am speculating, but I do wonder if this push to declare the boys legally dead is going to be a, oh, thank you, KLF. I will look at that. Oh gosh, do you guys want to know a terrible, terrible thing that I did this morning on such a tangent? So my son, my youngest, most feral, has this test packet that his teacher sends home every week that is like a test, and we have to sign it on the front to say that we looked at all the papers and then help them correct any mistakes that they had. So I signed it and I forgot that I left one of my notes for the Stacy Rodriguez case on a post-it on his test. So literally I get a very nice call as I'm waiting in line at the school. Excuse me, there was a note on your son's paperwork about a body and burning it and you know, possible arson, and I was just wondering if everything was okay. And I was like, please don't call the police. I streamed trials and I accidentally took a note about the trial. My house is fully intact. I am a partial widow, but they cleared me on all charges. And then I realized that I probably shouldn't have made that joke. And I was like, oh crap, stop being a sarcastic asshole for 1 second in your life. Could you stop? And I was like, no, no, I can't. So she's laughing at this point. And keep in mind that this is a Shiite Christian school. Like, skirts, above the knee, spicy. Okay, so this is what I'm dealing with. And I'm like, oh hell. I was just like, look, I promise that I do have a semi-professional, semi-serious job. I'm probably going to get a call from from a police officer at some point. I was like, no, check out my channel. This chick was a lesbian and she tried to burn this guy after she, stabbed him 7 times in the neck. Again, I am just vomiting out these details in self-defense and hysteria. And she's like, "Oh, okay, well that does make sense. I'll look into your channel." And I was like, "Thanks." I can only imagine the conversations that go on because of my ridiculous behind in the teacher's lounge. But there you go. I did get a call, which I understand because honestly, if I found a purple post-it note with a bunch of like body, burnt, 2 chicks, 1 dude, vodka, uh, nail file or metal file in neck, 7 stabs, only on good days, apparently. Stories that could only happen to me. I'm pretty sure this is an only Mo story. I'll just start only Mo's. Uh, you know, it's not going to be OnlyFans, but it's just where I'm going to tell, hysterically embarrassing stories. No, I. This is the Michigan State kind of lead detective. Uh, Now, to be fair, he reminds me a lot of Nicholas McClelland from the Delphi case, whom I hate with the passion of 1,000 suns, even more than Kevin Spacey, which is a feat that has been insurmountable for years. So, congratulations, Mr. McClelland. I officially hate someone more than I hate Kevin Spacey. I thought it was impossible, hitherto unimagined. I don't know if the state of string theory and, quantum physics is the same after this discovery. Okay, now that I've made fun of Nick McClelland for about a minute, let's continue. Oh, now I've got all my notes all redonkulous. Okay. You guys have no idea. I'm in my happy place. I've got like 14 pages of double-sided notes. I am such a nerd. Thank you for joining me on my obsessive hypergraphia tour. Again, as I have always said, a team of psychologists would have a field day with me. And welcome, Sticky Widget, Old Line Red, Squab Bob Volstorm. I am Princess Wolfram. Thank you for doing your Modly Mod duties. Ghost, thank you as well. And everyone, P. Lola's mom, KLF, or JW, and Penny Williams, welcome, welcome. And Squad Bob, if I didn't say you. Look, you're all my kids and I love you, but mama's got ADHD, so. And thank you, Sticky Widget. My If it is not the cats, it is the children. My son likes to jump off. My youngest, most feral, has not met a thing that he doesn't want to jump off of or make super loud noise. And so he's right next to me. His room is literally right behind my computer, and I swear he jumps off his bed just to scare the living daylights out of me. And sorry about that. I went on a tangent. Thank you, Sticky Widget, for the 5 memberships, and those went to I Am Princess, JW, Neat Scholar, Rogue Mama, and Let's Talk Megan's Hair. I am in awe of Megan's hair. She stuck with the curly girl method, and there is no way in hell. Not one bit. So, welcome to the Church of Mo. Look, Hagatha the Leg and the artist formerly known as the Good Leg are both being kind of giant buttholes. It seems that there is a winter storm a coming, and I might be a little bit more tangenty, but I'm going to get this started and write out those tickets.
Asked for is the lead investigator. There hasn't been anyone we've talked to once they understand the magnitude of this case that has not fully given us their support.
Okay. And you testified earlier to John's cell phone data showing that he was traveling on the early morning of November 26th from between Michigan to Ohio and then back to Michigan, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And based on your professional opinion, what do you believe John was doing during that time period?
My initial my thoughts are probably that as the phone started getting into Ohio, I think we had a good track on the phone for about a half.
And thank you. This is Sarah for $2. And Megan is a real girl. I know. She like consistently wears cute things and jewelry. Thank you so much. Memberships? Super chat, thank you. And y'all, I am amazed. You are already thank you so much for your support. You are already at like an inch deep, which is super, that's what she said. Oh, how many times can I actually say something that would shame my mother? Anywho, I mean, I think that has been a personal goal for my entire life. Let's get back into this. Again, that's what she said.
Half hour, whatever it was he did at that point, he probably just shut the phone off to avoid detection. And then once he got back home and knew he had his bearings again, the phone came back on.
Okay. So if you know, what was the length of time that the phone was off to when he was back home?
I believe we had a little over an hour and a half.
Okay. So is it safe to say he couldn't have really gone that far in that time period?
Correct. I mean, he could also shut the phone off and just driven, a totally different direction. But either way, he only had probably time to drive at the most 60 to 70 miles back.
Okay. And when you reviewed the evidence regarding the Skelton home that was searched on November 26th of 2010, what were your initial thoughts on what had occurred in that home?
So I remember one of the first things that I saw was the rope that he allegedly tried to hang himself with. When I looked at that, I didn't laugh because it was funny. It was almost humorous that he would claim that because it was...
Yeah, it was. So, all right. This case is a 10 pounds of crazy in a 2-pound sack, okay? So you have John Skelton, who on the 24th of November 2010, decided that he was having Thanksgiving with his son. Everything was okay, but he really wanted to get in contact with his ex-wife, or they were separated. And because of his insanely erratic behavior, to include taking the boys to Florida without telling his wife, demanding that she move down to Florida with him, to the point that they had to get an ex parte with a judge to require both of them to come back to Michigan, and him, doing all these crazy things, to his son having to call on the 20th that he couldn't find his father. So there was another 911 interaction. Well, on Thanksgiving, things came to a head. Tanya had been stringing kind of John along for a while. She was trying to get her own divorce attorney and make sure that she could protect the boys with their father's increasingly erratic behavior. But she did have to let him have parenting time of the alternating holidays and all that. So she was in her Ohio, Kunkel, Ohio, with her family celebrating Thanksgiving because John had custody of the boys that day. Well, he was calling, texting, bothering her, and she was ignoring his calls. And finally, she finally had enough, and she said to him, "Look, I don't think this is going to work out. You have not been the person, that I know. You're erratic. I don't think this is going to work." John said, and I quote, "Then you'll never see me again," and hung up the phone. Now, it's the next day, and oddly, John, his cell phone shows that he is, leaving his house at 5 a.m. And then there's a point in time where he shuts off his phone, but returns home about 7:45 a.m. Now, Tanya is kind of getting worried around 11 and wants to talk to John to see if she can get the boys at about 1 instead of 3, which was the planned upon time. Well, John decides to tell her that no, she can't get the boys early because he had to go meet a friend in some other place. They're a little bit further away, and they're with Joanne. Now, Tanya is a little confused because she's never met any person named Joanne. And then a little bit later, she gets a text message that says, "I'm sorry, I lied. I'm going to the hospital." Now, John gets his cousin to drive him to the hospital because he allegedly hurt his ankle because he attempted to self-delete. Now, Tanya is hearing all of this, hearing all this craziness, and decides to ask the question, so where are the kids? Now, John is not really talking to people. He's kind of mumbling. He's out of it. He's not giving a straight answer as to how he tried to self-delete or really anything. Now, the ankle did show a bit of soft tissue damage, nothing much. The doctor did give him an air cast. Now, at this time, Tanya is worried. She's called the police. They are at the home of, the marital home of the Skeltons. And I believe a family member or someone forces entry, or it's exigent circumstances. We cannot find the boys. They go through the house. The marital home is destroyed. And I mean everything. Nothing was left that could be useful. John cut the cords off of appliances. He destroyed, family heirlooms of Tanya's. He cut keys to cars. He, destroyed mattresses. This man destroyed everything. So in his words, nothing could be used by Tanya. Well, obviously the alarms go off because the boys are not in the house. Now, this sets off an Amber Alert. You get the FBI in, you get state police, and you get the local police. Well, John then starts to tell a different story when he's in the hospital because they take him into custody for, kidnapping his children. But he starts showing signs of a maybe psychotic break or something, so they send him to a medical center for observation. Well, at this time, the FBI, kind of first response kid team comes in, and they're trying to talk to John. And John admits, because they have found out due to a laptop that they got, that, this Joanne Taylor, was an account and a persona created by the same ISP address that, John had. So basically, Joanne was fake, and he was trying to talk to Tanya over Mom Cafe, and I guess get her to get back with John, or I have no idea what his point in this was. So everyone is getting really, really worried about these boys. And when the FBI, officers talk to John, he says, and they let him know that they know that Joanne is a fig Newton of his imagination or a lie, you choose. He decides to kind of wander off into a nightmare that he had, where he said he kind of had tunnel vision. He was standing next to a dumpster. He saw Joanne get the boys and put them in a dumpster close to a hotel where he and Tanya had had good times. So that is his first admission that maybe something is wrong. He also kind of confessed to his preacher that the boys had gone home. Now, in the intervening 15 years, John continues to cling to his, ultimate land-on lie. Lie-Tisha style, he had an ultimate land-on lie. Didn't involve the cartels, but sort of. Well, John, and it is pertinent to this story to know this, Tanya is an offender. When Tanya was, I believe, in her early to mid 20s, I'm approximating this. I'm trying to remember things from my notes from a long time ago. She did have an inappropriate and not good relationship with a, I believe, 14 or 15-year-old, which means that she went to prison. She, served her time, and she is now on the offenders list. Now, John decided to accuse Tanya of interfering or abusing their children and claimed that he feared that Tanya would be able to get custody of the children and he could not trust the legal system. So somehow, through some way, he hooked up with the Amish Underground Liberation, some stupid ass name. Okay, but basically the boys would become Amish until they were 18, and then they could come back into society without worrying about being in Tanya's custody. Now, I have an important message for you. If you believe this, I have a 100% for-profit charity in which all donations go directly to the cause. It's called Mo's House. Now, don't be fooled by other for-profit charities. They'll lie to you, but 100% of our profits will go directly to Mo's House. More honest than the government, Mo's House, a charity for everyone. Well, if your name is Mo. I don't know, I'm working on my commercial, but it's going to be there. And, sorry, I was getting to that. So, probably it is fairly dense. I am trying to give a condensed version, but they do go in and really explained a lot of the sort of just the timeline, what we're dealing with, and the story. And they are doing it fairly chronologically throughout each of the detectives that were shown. So I would say that it is a good one to watch on like 1.5 or 2 if you want to. We are here, basically, this is a probate hearing. This is to declare the Skelton brothers dead. One of the main reasons for that is that if the boys were alive, they would be 23, 22, and 18. Well beyond, their majority, at least, even the youngest one at 18, to where they, in theory would have reintegrated into society, because John's kind of theme while he's been keeping to this story has been that they will hibernate until they graduate, kind of implying that this underground Amish mafia that takes children would keep them hidden until they reach their majority. Now, Basically, in the last 30 minutes, this detective destroyed that particular lie because John decided to, well, take a name off the internet, basically. Moses Gingrich, a kind of famous ex-Amish who helps people that are leaving the Amish community to kind of understand the world that they're entering. Now, basically, he called his bluff and in true petty form brought Moses Gingrich all the way up to Michigan and had him meet John face to face and ask, why the hell are you implicating, me in the, kidnapping of 3 kids? Oh, my grift for Mo's house. I need a walk-in bathtub. They are hella expensive. Now, I'm going to start an Only Mo's, so that's basically just going to be embarrassing stories told funnily. Actually, I could do a channel just like that, now that I'm thinking about it. I am a genius when I'm tangenting. Okay, anyhoozle, we are continuing. Daggone it, chat. You know I'm a tangenter. Tangentee. We're going forward.
I called it a shoestring. I've always kind of referred to it as that because it was so thin. Anyone in their right mind that would try to hang themselves from a very weak banister would not use that, in my opinion. So that was one of the first things that stuck out to me. Also, thought it was very curious about all the different tie straps and tie downs that were cut. It just seemed very odd. I mean, the house was, from the photo, I was not there at that time, but I saw, I poured over the photos. The house was just destroyed. He didn't want Tanya to get anything out of it, so he just destroyed everything. But the tie down straps that were cut, obviously, to me was very, very interesting. One of the other things that I thought was very odd was in one of the bedrooms or one of the areas where there were some mattresses.
This is new information. We never heard about tie-down straps. Now, I'm hoping that we'll start to see exhibits. This is going to be a 3-day hearing. I did not know that when I just jumped into it because, holy crap, do I have impulse control. Anyhoozle. I wonder if we are going to start seeing exhibits. One other thing I wanted to point out, the woman who is questioning him now is not an opposing counsel. This woman, this lawyer who looks a bit like Elle Woods, she dressed like Barbie. I have no idea what's going on here. Pink pastel, angora, or some sort of plaidish, and this headband. Look, no. But she is here to preserve the rights of all the boys. She's sort of, I don't know if it's the right term, not a legalologist, but kind of like a guardian ad litem. She is kind of making sure that the boys' rights are being protected, that they are being represented, if in the off chance that they are alive and, don't want to be declared dead, if that makes sense.
Were at least 1 or 2 that had, a sheet on them and had stuffed animals and toys that seemed normal. And then there was one that was completely bare, appearing to me as if something on that bed was recently removed as to why it wouldn't look like the other 2. So those are some of the things that really stuck out, along with the fact that, again, he just destroyed everything. If he pulled off this heist of the century and got his kids safe with this group to keep him away from Tanya, he should be the happiest guy in the world because his kids are now safe. Why does he have to try to kill himself? Why does he have to destroy everything? And why does he have to leave a suicide note? It just doesn't. His story and the facts of it don't make sense.
Okay. And you just stated that you believe he destroyed everything in the home so that Tanya couldn't get any of it. Do you believe that's the same thing that he did with the boys, basically?
Absolutely. I believe, yes.
And you mentioned testing a baseball in 2015 that was found in Ohio for DNA and said it came back that it was not the DNA of any of the Skelton boys. So you actually have DNA then
Yes.
from the boys?
Yes.
Okay. And has that DNA ever been imputed into any databases?
Yes. Yep.
What databases?
The University of North Texas houses that database. It's called NamUs. And that database is constantly updated. There's constant DNA information being inputted in that. And to my understanding, there's kind of a revolving stuff that's going on behind the scenes all the time, where if there's a missing persons found in Oregon in that database, that's entered into NamUs, and if it were to hit one of the Skelton boys, we would get notified of that. So there's checks continuously going on all the time with that National Clearinghouse.
Okay. And this underground group that John alleges he gave the children to, do you know?
Oh, well, that's incredibly generous, but we are okay that we can afford the tub. It's just one of those things where I'm like, for that amount, the tub should, well, I'm just saying, cook me dinner and make me want a cigarette. Now, it's supposed to have jets, so maybe it does. Besides, I have to talk to an agent, so I have to talk to a real person because Mr. Mo, being logical and all smart and stuff, was like, we need to talk to people, we need to talk to an agent, we need to check the reviews, we need to see the installation process. And for me with CRPS, I'll pull it one up. Let me see here. Just because I'm super, super stoked that I might get one. Now, they are ridiculously funny pictures, I've got to say. But there's some that have, see, I love this one. It's the old people romance one. I love it. It's the Cialis commercial that we all need. So I just love it. Oh, share this tab. Dag on it. So here's the tub. Come on. As you do, you wear your entire bathing suits when you're in the tub with, your loved one. But this is so cute. Look, I want the entire backstory and Hallmark movie of their entire love story. Like, I want, Celeste and Bill's love story. I want Bill Dauterive finally won. Fuck yeah. King of the Hill people, you're gonna get that. Everyone else is gonna be like, what in the heck did I walk into? But that's kind of what we're looking at. Now with CRPS, I have to make sure that the jets on the feet and everything don't blow cold. This isn't the actual one. They have a little bit of a bigger one, a taller one. Mr. Mo's tall. Now, if I decide to let him share my tub, we need one that's long enough that if he puts his legs completely out, he's not touching me with his feet. Because I'm pretty sure that that is a total pass to, like, just, ugh. So, Mr. Mo understands that we're getting the larger one just so I don't have to see his feet. Look, we can put rose petals on top of them, but I'm not looking at your feet. Ugh. I don't get people that like feet stuff. I don't get it. One day I'm going to have to interview a foot fetishist and just have the... Sorry, I've got to get a giant cat off my desk. I should just rename this the Tangent Stream. Have you ever had a Monday is Tuesday ever? Just asking for a friend.
Know what was the name of the group that John was alleging?
I believe he said Underground Sanctuary.
Okay. And did John ever tell you or anybody else that you would have reviewed those records of how he allegedly found this group?
Out of all the stories he told, he met some folks on the side of the road that he was helping change a tire, and within a few short minutes, trusted him enough to tell him his whole life story, and that he wanted to hide his kids, and that they happened just to be part of the Underground Sanctuary, and within a couple of weeks, he sent them off to them.
Were there any ever statements made with regards to any business cards being given to him or anything like that?
There was some secret envelopes and secret numbers that John allegedly was given, that he even said something along the lines of it.
But you guys, he had to burn them, so it's a mystery. But it totally exists. He's being super serial. He's super serial. Between Casey Anthony thinking that she is Rosa Parks and this guy trying to sell the underground Amish, railroad, I'm about done with ridiculousness today. Ma'am, you're not Rosa Parks. Sit the hell down. Look, the rest of America decided to ignore you, and you got incredibly lucky. Keep your head low. For the love of God, we were kind of giving you a pass. Shut the hell up and sit the hell down. For the love of God. And I'm going to tell you, I have checked with my gays, okay? I have children, I have my gays that I love. And I don't believe any of them would like to be represented by Casey Anthony. Now, check with your local gays, but I don't know. Maybe they want to be, maybe they're tired of, being represented by Jared from Subway. Pick better people, people.
At some point, he could.
Also, can I just say from a genlennial, I'm going on a rant, y'all. I am so fucking tired of people appointing themselves the savior of other people. Unless and until said people have asked you to speak for them, for the love of God, shut the hell up. You are not Martin Luther King. You're not Martin Luther. You're not Rosa Parks. You're an idiot sitting in your car babbling. And how dare you use your daughter's name? See, I was going to make a video too, but unlike you, I was there to pick up my children. Again, from the bottom of my fucking heart. Casey Anthony, we were giving you a pass. Keep your head low. We were, absolutely okay with you fading into oblivion. But don't test us. Look, we were willing to let you go. We were willing to say, okay, fine, there's one we didn't get, it pisses us off, but that's the justice system. But now you're coming out and trying to be a damn civil rights hero? Sit the hell down and shut the hell up from the bottom of every American's heart. Also, the gays don't want you. Stop it. Stop. I'm sure they would rather Hannibal Lecter be a spokesperson, because at least he knew how to, pair wines with liver. For fuck's sake. Now, excuse my French. We're going to continue. And sir, I'm going to need to know the amount of gel one has to use to make a Sarah Boone hair helmet, but looks like he did Speed Racer with it. I'm just asking for a friend because I may or may not put my hair like that tomorrow just to make fun of you, and I kind of need to know how much gel I'm going to have.
Connect these numbers to different newspaper articles that would come out that would then have some type of code that he would understand of where to find the boys. It was just way out there. It didn't make any sense. And he had indicated that either he had burned those secret envelopes or that the police took them during the search warrant. And to my knowledge, there was none of that secret numbers envelopes were ever found when we obtained the property of the evidence.
Okay. And aside from this case, have you ever investigated any other potential homicide cases?
Yes.
Okay. And in any of those other cases, were there ever any claims made
no, I don't
like
have
the ones that
food.
John just made that you just testified
You
to that ended up
degenerate
coming out
cat.
to be true?
No, nothing even close.
Oh, okay. I guess we don't want to be on screen. I see how it is.
In your professional opinion, is it likely that John Skelton could have found this alleged underground sanctuary group, but none of the law enforcement agencies, which you just testified there were hundreds, none of them found them, but John Skelton did?
That's absolutely absurd.
Okay. And with regards to Moses Gingrich, isn't it true that the TV show he was actually on was one that was airing within the prison where John was being housed?
Yes, I believe it's either Learning Channel or Discovery Channel or something that he would have had access to that prison.
Okay. So you believe that's at the point when he came up with that story that he had probably seen that on the TV?
It's not a stretch to say that John saw one of his shows in prison and then that planted a seed in his mind to throw that to us as a distraction.
Okay. And during the investigation, were there ever any data analyst searches conducted by the Michigan State Police?
Yes.
Okay. And was there one specific person that was dedicated to doing those searches?
Yes.
Who was that?
Throughout the years, we've had several that have been involved helping us in different things. More recently, we've got a cold case analyst. Her name's Kelly Hodges that has kind of gotten us up to speed, done searches from, initially from 2010 all the way up to present day. And she can go into more of that, what her job is with that.
Okay. Are you aware of if the boys had passports?
I do not believe that they did.
Okay. Prior to you coming onto this case,
That's right. You know what? I didn't consider the international Amish community. They have a big community where in Guam, I'm sure. The international Amish. I don't know how they got here. They must have. Well, they don't like airplanes. Oh my God. Can you imagine, like, international... we have to make this a thing. It's 2025. I say we make an international Amish. I give up. They used a rowboat. It was a steamboat. Because you English use all the gasoline. I remember the first time I met a Mennonite because I didn't realize there was like Amish and Amish light, like Catholic and Episcopal. I had no idea. So I saw, what I presumed to be an Amish man driving a car, and I was like, doesn't he know he's not allowed to do that? I mean, to be fair, I was ignorant. I had no idea there were different like sects of Amish. I didn't know they had hardcore and light. To be fair, I don't think I could even do the light. So, more power to them. Though, I will point out that I am the only non-Amish person to ever order a modern treadle machine, a treadle sewing machine. Yes, I do have one. No, I do not know how to explain myself. I can only say that the coof did scary things to all of us. But yes, one day I will show you guys my treadle that's easy for me to say, sewing machine, because again, only Mo. It really could not be any other way, I promise you.
You were reviewing the evidence. You were made aware of the comments made by John to the FBI agents with regards to the children potentially being in an old schoolhouse in Ohio or potentially being in a dumpster. You're aware of those?
Yes.
Okay. And
Good
isn't it
point.
true that John told the authorities, even prior to telling the authorities to search those places, that
So Paula Broadsworth, did they say he met with Amish? It was a rather odd story. He said that he met an Amish couple or some affiliated with Amish people and this underground railroad kind of thing. Extremely weird, far-fetched, and fakakta, if you ask me. But it's good to know that the Amish around the thumb of Michigan don't use modern tech. So, interesting. Well, cool. I didn't know that. Again, I will confess my complete ignorance beyond shameful watching of Amish Mafia, the TLC show that was definitely scripted but complete cringe hilariousness. So I will admit to my absolute dumbness in Amishness. But ask me Catholic stuff, I know that. Well, sort of.
the children were actually safe with people like Joey and Taylor?
Right.
Okay. So did it make any sense to you when you were reviewing that John would tell authorities to search those places if he believed the children were safe?
No, the context made perfect sense because all he has done is lie, but what came out of his mouth was completely contradictory from what he had said weeks before.
Okay. And you testified earlier that age progressions of the children had been done.
Correct.
Are you aware of how many of those have been done?
I believe they do them every other year. We have not done them recently. I think we had at least 3 or 4 sets, so it would have encompassed 8 years or so of the time they've been missing.
Okay. And when those age progressions were released, did the Michigan State Police receive any tips with regards to those updated pictures?
We would receive tips. A lot of times we would receive tips when we put things out there, but of late it's really been from more of like the psychics and the mediums. Nothing that's, hey, I believe these boys were seen in, Columbus.
Okay, psychics and mediums. Look, I am not the smartest person, so I'm not going to say that there aren't some people with, extra sensitivities. Because I don't know all the things, and I am not going to assume things that, I haven't seen. But psychics and mediums, why are you calling them? For the love that is all that is Cheetos. I think that borders on cruel, if you ask me. Allegedly in Minecraft, it just, false hope, false, leads. It's just, I know that it comes from a good place. At least I hope for the majority of people it comes from a good place, but it's not helpful. Like, maybe they need a separate psychic medium tip line where they can have people like me go investigate. Oh my Bob Ross. We must make this happen. Please make a tip line for only psychics and mediums. It will be housed by Mo and other internet assholes. I mean, look, a-holes. I'm writing this down. Where are my post-it notes? Oh, that's right. I put my post-it notes away so I wouldn't put murder stuff on school things anymore. So I'm gonna have to use my notebook of remembering. Psychic. Oh, psychic starts with a P, not an S, because I have dyslexia. Medium hotline. Oh my God, could we, America, we can make our money back. If you have ever lost money on those psychic hotlines, Mo's psychic hotline is a reverse psychic hotline. The psychics and mediums call me, and for $1.99 a minute, I will listen and pretend to care. I will pretend to be a Sagittarius. I will pretend to know someone named Joe. I will pretend all the things, and then I will use them on a stream. The grift is real. Please, Lord, make this happen. I don't ask for much. Good audio in a courtroom. Ferals that are seen and not heard, but, you know, that's a prayer for, well, super Jesus. Anywho, and possibly making the psychic hotline from Mo a thing. Thank you, amen, tiny baby Jesus. Oh, I have never seen that. He's almost too calm for me. I realized that I was born super, super anxious. Like, that's just, I was tightly wound. Like, my soul has seen a lot and it's learned to be fearful. Okay. It's learned to plan for every intentionality. Pretty sure I've been here for millions of years, though my mom confirms that I was birthed here allegedly. Now, privately, I still cling to the hope sometimes that, you know, the cadre of aliens that unfortunately left their youngling behind, who is me, are racing back because they just realized, you know, that I was missing. Now, being the, you know, adorable little chunkster that I, of course, was adopted by a human family and have used the rest of my life as a journey to observe you humans. Now, you may laugh at that, but that was a hope and a prayer that got me through my teen years. I am not going to lie. Sometimes the distant thought that I was, in fact, E.T. got me through the day. Welcome to Monly fans, or Only Mo's, where I just apparently am going to vomit stuff out because I'm still a little bit embarrassed about the whole, you know, murder post-it note thing.
Ohio at a coffee shops, nothing like that we could actually go out and investigate. So yeah, nothing's really panned out from those.
Okay. Is there any doubt in your mind that these 3 boys are deceased and have been since November 26th of 2010?
No doubt.
Okay. And you already testified about some of your investigation and the findings that led you to this conclusion, but is it accurate to state that there's way more evidence and information than what you just sat here and testified to today that lead you to believe that?
Absolutely.
Okay. And is there any of that other evidence that you haven't had a chance to testify to today that you think is relevant enough to this case of finding that the children are deceased that you would like to testify to?
No, I think we've covered the highlights for sure.
Ooh. This case. Did you guys hear that? I am wondering if she let drop. Of course, this might be my hope fantasy thing coming through and trying to find confirmation bias. So I will be legitimately fair that this might be confirmation bias. But I pulled it back and she did very much emphasize this case. So I do wonder if the state is building their murder case as we speak, or have it built and are going to drop it as soon as the boys are declared legally dead. Again, this might be my hopeful wish that John never gets to see the light of effing day. So I will let you know my bias. To
today that you think is relevant enough to this case of finding that the children are deceased that you would like to testify to?
No, I think we've covered the highlights for sure.
Okay. I have nothing further. Thank you.
Redraw?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Any reason we should not take and excuse this witness?
Please do.
Any objection? No objection. Thank you so much for your time and your testimony.
Thank you, Megan, or let's talk Megan's hair. One of the male detectives said he didn't find anything relevant to this case during a search of one of the houses. Okay. So, yes, it was his sister's house. He took several personal items, his laptop, the boys' winter coats. Keep in mind, it was November in Michigan. So these boys allegedly were, taken by the Amish underground without coats. Also their toothbrushes and several other kind of personal items. They haven't gone into what those personal items were beyond the computer and a couple of the boys' things, at least the toothbrushes and the coats. But yes, he did drop those off at his sister's at about 7 a.m. On Black Friday. Yeah, Old Line Red. But I'm wondering if they're willing to take the leap. I don't know. I think that sometimes the lack of evidence might speak more loudly than the evidence, but of course I'm relying on a general public to understand clues and, make logical reasoning sense. Oh God, we're screwed.
Welcome to be on your way.
Thank you.
The next witness, Mr. Kesselman.
We would call Kelly Hodges. Do we need it? These are all injured.
Yes, there.
So I'm gonna leave it and you'll just let me know when you're done.
Sure. Yep. Does anybody need a recess before we go any further, or a break?
All right, I would say let's do this witness and then we can take a recess for the next one. She's just right down the hall. She'll be right here.
Okay.
And the woman in purple is Tanya Zuvers. I believe Tanya remarried. And I believe I will have to watch a couple things, but I do believe that she remarried either a police officer or someone that helped with the search of her boys. So again, from one mama's heart to another, I can't imagine your pain and loss, and standing for your boys is amazing. The woman in the headband bow is the sort of lawyer that is representing the interests of the boys. I hope that, they are able to find some physical evidence with the, leaps of a technology, maybe something with short tandem repeat on the car seats, on the van, something, from samples that they took years ago. I'm sure they are furiously looking through things. I do hope. There are some times I wish that we didn't, go all legal, if you follow my drifts. Allegedly Minecraft.
Can you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? There's a step here, be careful.
Now, I don't know if I love her jacket or I hate it. I hate when I'm just confused as to whether I love or hate something, but her hair is fire. I love the long little curly things. She's a real girl. Congratulations. And I bet she has winged eyeliner on too. Just full girl in it. I'm so proud of her. Now, don't expect none of that from me unless I get my own glam squad of drag kings and queens.
Afternoon. Would you like to state and spell your name for the record?
Kelly Hodges, KELLYHODGES.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Hodges, where are you employed?
Michigan State Police.
And how long have you been with the Michigan State Police?
About 4 years.
4 years. What is your job there?
I am a criminal intelligence analyst and I'm assigned to the cold case unit.
So what kind of things do you do?
Criminal intelligence analysts provide case support for investigators. We do everything from attempt to locate, person workups, proof of life checks, cell phone analysis, and other special requests.
Okay.
Yep.
So you had some training in doing this. Could you tell us about that?
Yep, I have received about 7 years of training in different departments as well. I've done local and state different databases through law enforcement trainings. I've been through some government trainings as well and specialized trainings with major case investigations, narcotics, and other additional trainings.
So how did you become involved with the Skelton case?
I was asked in the summer of 2024 to do a proof of life check for the 3 boys.
Okay. And what is that? What is a proof of life check?
A proof of life check is a verification process that we have to see if individuals are still alive. In those checks, we go through some different databases. Some of those databases include law enforcement databases, commercial databases, and federal government databases.
So I know you just named a few, but how many are there? I mean, and you don't have to be exact, but are we talking 10, 20, 100?
I checked about 20 different databases that we have access to at the state police.
So you looked at 20 different databases in doing a proof of life check.
Yes.
What kind of things are you looking for?
We're looking for any indication that they are alive, whether that's hitting on their social security number, any arrest records, any warrants, any traffic stops, anything like that.
Okay. What'd you find out?
Not much.
Okay.
My searches indicated nothing, just the original case report.
So there was proof of life before November 26, 2010,
Correct.
and there's been no proof of life since November 26, 2010.
Correct.
So there's nothing that you found
No.
that would show that any of these 3 boys are alive.
No.
I have no further questions at this time.
When was the most
Welcome,
recent
JKD Burke.
search for life
But-
performed?
Sorry.
My last proof of life search was, I believe, in August of 2024.
Okay, and nothing was found at that point?
No.
Okay. And do those search of life searches actually look into like social media platforms?
Yes.
Okay. What about phone records?
Yes.
Okay. Do those also look into the NamUs database?
Yes.
Okay. Have you used the age progression photos as part of those searches as well?
Yep. I actually did facial recognition, and I did that through Michigan State Police and then all the other
wow.
states that participate in that. And I used both the original photos and the age progressed photos.
Okay. And for those, the facial recognition, is that used at places like the airports and things like that?
I cannot confirm. I'm not sure how that works, but it does check a variety of different sources.
Okay. Is there anything else that you haven't testified to today that you think is relevant to add?
I did check federal databases, and I did not see anything. A lot of those databases do check interstate records. Some of them are also located at different parts of the country, so like near the southern border of Texas. We had a very big search throughout the United States, and we did not find anything.
Okay. I have nothing further. Thank you.
Thank you.
Redirect?
No, you're not.
Any reason we should not thank and excuse Ms. Hodges?
Please do so.
Yes. Thank you for your time and your
Thank you.
testimony.
Now we can take a short recess.
Okay, all right, sounds good. We'll see you all around 3 o'clock.
Thank you.
I love being able to skip through breaks. It soothes something in my ADHD to not have to deal with redonkulous crap that I don't want to have to look at. Hold on to your butts, people. We're getting to Tanya. And God bless this woman. Again, my heart goes out to
Could you
her.
spell
I
your
can't
name?
imagine.
Tanyazuvers.
And what city do you live in?
Morenci?
And is that in Lenawee County, Michigan?
Yes,
And how long have you lived in Morenci?
my whole life.
And how old are you today?
58.
Really?
It's part of the
dude?
record. I want to take you back in time, Tanya, to when you met John Skelton and married John Skelton. When did you marry John Skelton?
September of '02.
And did you have children with Mr. Skelton?
Yes, I did.
And what were their names?
Andrew, Alexander, and Tanner.
And is that order that you just told me, is that their ages
Yes.
progressive?
Yes.
At some point, these three children, Andrew, Alexander, and Tanner, could you describe Andrew for us?
Andrew was my smart as a whip, wasn't a computer or video game that he could not conquer. I want to say he was probably around 4 or 5 and he was playing a video game and the girls had friends over and he did something on this video game and one of the friends said, "Well, wait a minute, I've been playing this game forever. I didn't know it did that. Show me how you did that." So here's this little 4-year-old showing this teenager how to play this.
Oh God, this is ripping my heart out. She's being so strong. I mean, maybe she's gotten to a point where these stories are more of, I would love to share my boys with you. Please, carry the memory of my boys with you so that they can live on. Maybe this is the point where she is, but it is breaking my heart. Oh my goodness, you guys, I'm having an Oprah moment. Daggone. I hate sad feelings. Like, I am cool with mad and rage and grudge and revengeation. Like, sadness is not my jam. I do not like to live in that town. I will avoid it with dark humor. We do not go there. We take, a round away with, dark humor highway.
This video game, and so he was
Smart.
very smart. They all three were very smart.
We're not here to determine who's the smartest, but
No.
I want a little bit of a description of each of the children.
Sure.
What about Alex?
He is very inquisitive. If he could take it apart and put it back together, he was happy. He loved to be friends with his sister's friends. They were his girlfriends, he liked to call them.
Yeah.
He was going to be my ladies' man, I do believe. But fascinated with cell phones. Like, we always joke that someday he would be a cell phone programmer or builder or something like that because he was so into how does it work, and that, he just thought that was neat.
Yes. What about Tanner?
Tanner was my baby. He had been 5 for 1 month when they went missing.
Oh no.
Had
Her youngest, most feral, is going to bother me. Also, is anyone else hearing music in the background, or am I having a stroke? Because I just need to know these things nowish.
just started in big school, was so excited to be in big school like his brothers.
Okay. Y'all, I swear to God, I was like, it is happening, Mo. You are having a stroke online. You have joked about this enough, and God is, smiting you for your, ridiculousness. Fair point, Sticky Widget. What would I do if I wasn't constantly worrying? Again, you guys, sorry for the tangenting, but she had 3 boys, has 3 boys, and I have 3 boys, and I'm hearing my boys in her boys. And I might have to go off camera for the youngest, most feral, because I don't know, but look, I love all my kiddos, but you guys know I picked Dingus. Like, there's a special little bit in my heart for kind of jerky, ridiculous behind holes in little, my kiddos. And look, I'm just saying, I might have to go off screen for this one.
He was still had that little babiness to him. But he could tell stories. And he could tell them, and you would believe him because he would tell stories that were almost believable. And you're kind of going, I don't know. And then he would go, I'm just messing with you. And you're like, how do you do this? But, yeah.
It's safe to say they were all pretty sharp children.
Yeah, they were. And they were each other's best friends. They were, very rarely did they fight. They were, but they were only like a year and 11 months apart, each of them. And so they're built-in best friends.
Right.
I know that pattern, ma'am. After 6, we figured it out. It was a hard Rubik's Cube to figure it out, but we did finally eventually figure out that pattern.
Now, we're going to get into some things that are not so happy, but that is, at some point, the marriage with John Skelton started to have problems. When was that?
September 13th of 2010, when he signed my sons out of school, telling the school that he was taking them on a family vacation to Florida that I had no idea was happening and was not invited to be a part of.
Okay. Were you guys still together on that day?
Yes, we were.
Okay. And what did you do in response to that?
My first call was to talk with a police officer. It happened to be Chief Larry Weeks, is who came. He told me that he would call John and see if he could get John to come to the police station and we could sit and talk. And while we were waiting for him to come to the police station.
Old line read, Mr. Moe, if he tried this, would be lucky if I contacted law enforcement first. She is a better thinker than me. I think the red hair dye has sunk into my head, and I have taken on characteristics, or I was always meant to be a redhead. I am not playing any of the music. It is court TV. I didn't realize that we needed background music. Audio in courts are so freaking bad. Are you telling me that giblets in handbasket, Thor, get off the desk. You're a fat cat. You're not going to be able to slip. 1 second. Thor, we have had this talk. You are not an agile cat. You are in fact fat. No, don't you. I will. Stop. What is wrong with you? You are ridiculous. Are you such a cuddle whore that you will be a bad boy unless I'm not going to finish that sentence because that would sound really, really bad. I was going to say until I stroke you, but that's, well, Thor, for the love of all the... Here, fine. Yes, everyone loves you. You're the favoritist. You're the bestest. Yes, you were the first... animal stop, not the face. We've talked about that. Stop. I have to use my hands. Don't molest the mic. What is... Sorry. Sir, we have talked about this. I do not love you that way.
Station. My daughters, who were older, both adults.
These are not children with John Skelton, correct?
Correct. They are not children with John Skelton. They are from my first husband.
Okay.
They came to Adrian on my behalf and met with an attorney and found out that the only way to prevent John from taking the children was, or for me to get custody of them, that I needed to file for divorce. And I said, well, do whatever you have to. In the back of my mind, I had always heard, if they take them out of state, you have a hard time getting them back. And I didn't know any of that. So I'm like, do what you have to do to get me custody.
Okay.
And we'll cross the next bridge when we get to it. I don't want him taking them out of state until we've had time to discuss this further.
Right.
So when he came to the police station, I said to him,
Thank you.
So
Because it's kind of
how long do you
tripping
plan on
me
being
out,
in
to be
Florida?
honest with you.
He said, I don't know, 3 weeks, a month, I don't know. I'll put him in school down there if we're going to be too long. And I said, well, you realize to enroll them in any school, you have to have birth certificates, you have to have social security numbers. You don't have any of that. Mm-hmm. And so we talked. I said, we can go home. I can find that information for you. Just kind of playing his hand for a little bit just to see if I could get him to hold off. So we went to the house and I looked. pretty much found all the paperwork I needed right away, but I still had not heard from my daughters that everything had been signed and filed. So I was kind of holding off, and
Thank you so much,
I
Kayla.
don't even know how long we were at the house. And he come out of his, he had a room where his computer was, and he came out and he started yelling at me, and he said, "You've been lying to me." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Well, apparently when he decided to take them, he had made an appointment with an attorney and was going to consult. He claims he was just going to see what he could legally do about taking them to Florida. And ironically, he had the appointment with the same attorney that I had already retained. And that attorney called him and told him that they couldn't represent him because I had retained him. And so he started yelling and saying that I was lying and whatever. That he said, "I'm out of here, I'm taking the boys with me." And he started yelling at the boys to get in the van. And Tanner was behind me, so I was able to keep him. And the other two were crying, and they got in the van because their dad got to them. He was in front of me going out of the house, and he made them get in the van. And he ended up taking off, and he made it to Florida with them.
Okay. What happened next?
So, my mom, my youngest daughter, and I left for Florida on a Wednesday. We drove all night. We got into Jacksonville around noon. We went to the police station with my papers that
Now, these papers, you had gotten an ex parte custody order from the court,
Correct.
is that right?
correct.
And so you took that paperwork.
I took that paperwork with me, and I said, "What can you do?"
Now, y'all, I want you to remember that John's big blow up, the catalyst to whatever happened on November 26th or 25th of 2010 was after he pulled all of this incredibly heinous bullshit on this woman. So first he takes the kids out of school, doesn't tell her, takes them to Florida, and demands that she moves down there after she's basically said she's not moving down there. It takes the cops to get him up there. Then, to make sure that this doesn't happen again, so she gets sole custody, she decides to get a divorce attorney and make sure that she has custody. Well, John then finds out, ooh, my stuff. John then finds out, and sorry about the crinkly stuff, and then decides to run off with two of the children to Florida. This is an entire case of I can hurt you more if I take away the one thing you love. John wanted to punish Tanya for the rest of her life, just like Jermaine Bass. He knew the way to kill a mother was to take away her children. And to him, the children were just an extension of himself. And if, he couldn't have her, then the boys sure as hell couldn't have her. She would have no one. He destroyed everything in that house. The mattresses, everything else. Oh. I apologize for the unexpected Hobbit-like Pavlovian response of your dogs. So he pulled all of this and then had the nerve to tell Tanya when she said, "Look, I can no longer stay with you. You are crazy and you are a danger to my children." He decided to unalive his kids and then tell ridiculous stories and deny her the chance to bury her children, and cloak himself in the Word of God while doing all of it. As a terrible Christian, fuck you. Look, some of us are actually trying to be good-ish and learn the Bible and, be a little better. But then people like you make the rest of us look like giant assholes because you use our names and do douchery. So stop it. The people that claim to be the best Christians generally are a-holes. The people that are realistic and realize they have, a long journey to be anywhere near, Christ-like are the people I hang out with. Most of all because they are okay with me cursing.
And everything was lined up for us, I think. That officer walked us across the street to the courthouse, told us exactly what department we needed to go to. We went there, we showed the lady, this is what we have, we need to have this turned into Florida verbiage. And we picked that up the next day. And around, I want to say it was around 5 o'clock in the afternoon, it was a Friday, I called the sheriff's department. I said, I have this order and I need someone to serve it. And they knocked on the apartment door where he was staying, brought Andrew and Alexander out to me, and we left. But we had to stay in Florida for the weekend because the judge wanted to talk with both John and I before she allowed us to come home.
Now, you've thrown out different days of the week, like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
I know, and I
So
don't-
it's okay. But I want to make clear for the court that, you did give a date to start. That was September 13th. And all of those days that you just referenced, the Friday was September 17th. So it's right away. There's no
Right.
delay in this.
Right, it was all that same week.
I mean, he left with the kids. You got an ex parte order the next day.
And this is exactly how real parents react when their kids are either A, taken away, or B, are missing. She hauled behind. She didn't care about the marriage. She's like, look, if I have to get a divorce, just make sure my kids are okay. She knew she was going to catch hell from John. She knew that this was dangerous, that he is unpredictable, he is vindictive, he is malicious. He told the boys that she was an offender to try to, again, wedge and put a hatred from the boys to their mother, which would hurt Tanya, all the while professing he wants to stay married to her. That, he loves her. He can't live without her. She's so cruel to him. Why does she not, want to be with him? I can't imagine, John. Just can't imagine. We're going to have to get Miss Cleo on the line.
Next day, you're on the way to Florida. Is that right?
Correct, on Wednesday.
You get there, you are immediately going to the court to get the order enforced, correct?
Yes.
And now you're to the point where you have to come back on Monday, which would have been September 20th.
Right.
And what did the judge say?
Well, we initially I was just gonna go in the courtroom by myself. And we were sitting in the hotel room and my mom and I were talking and we decided we probably ought to find an attorney and maybe we should do that. We're in a strange town and it's huge.
You're talking about Jacksonville, Florida.
Jacksonville, Florida.
Okay.
And I don't even remember how we chose this attorney. I think we just opened the phone book and pointed because they actually had phone books back then. We went and we met with this attorney. He met me on Monday the 20th. He met me at the court and he and I went in and John showed up with an attorney.
Okay.
And the first thing out of their mouth was my history. I had been in trouble. And so they brought that up. And the judge in Florida, and I cannot remember her name,
It's okay.
she went into her chambers and called up here and talked with Judge Noe. And their decision between the two of them, they both were in agreement that we jointly bring them back to Michigan together. And then once we got to the state line, then the custody agreement that Judge Noe had signed became effective.
Which gave you
Which
full
gave
custody
me
of the
full
children.
custody of the boys.
Okay. So you get back to Michigan, and then on the next day would be September 21st. You're back in Michigan, right?
I think we got back on the 21st, like late, I can't.
But you didn't go home. What I say is you were living at Congress Street
Right.
before you left. When you came back, where'd you go?
I moved to my mom and dad's house with the boys
Okay.
for a couple weeks. And then I found I had a house I was living in with them.
So you get back to Michigan and you go to your parents' house, but you realize you don't have your stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you go back to Congress Street to retrieve your belongings?
We did, and I moved out, what I needed for the boys. I moved out necessities. And then once I got the house, then we kind of split up some of the furniture.
Was there an argument over a curio cabinet?
Oh, yeah.
Tell us about that.
So I was living on the Congress Street address, and before I left to go to Florida, we moved the curio cabinet out because at that point,
Again, random tangent, but my English viewers, holy redonkulousness, hobnobs are great, and you only pay £1.85. I'm moving to England. Screw it. I'll get Bakewell tarts. I'm going to work my behind off to be a good cook person, and then I'm going to get on the Great British Bake Off. But I'm going to use a lot of curse words, so they're going to, have to off me. I mean, not like literally, but figuratively off the show. But then I'm going to get on the, what is it, the Great Big Quiz Show with, oh gosh, Jimmy Carr and Richard Iowati, and my life will be complete. Bucket list achieved. That's you guys, honestly, that is a bucket list goal, to be on the Great British, or whatever, the Great Big Quiz Show with the comedian that everyone hates. Look, I am having a total pain fog moment. But I can remember Richard Iowati and Neil, which confuses the hell out of me. So, in a nutshell, this has been a random tangent brought to you by Mo and the sponsors of Mo. Mo.
I'm trying to remember. Anyway, we moved the curio cabinet out, and when John got home, when we got back from Florida, he flipped out that the curio cabinet was gone. He called me up. He's like, "Where's this at? What did you do with it?" I said, "That was mine. You gave that to me as a housewarming gift when we bought the house." And he's like, "I paid for that. That's mine." Okay, we moved it back.
This is the same curio cabinet that was found smashed to pieces.
Yes, sir.
So you're back in Michigan.
Asshole.
You get the boys back in school?
I did.
Did you get them into counseling?
I sure did.
Okay. What happened next? Did you start a discussion with your attorney about parenting time? And how
We did. And when I think back and I look in my papers, we had dates, but we never made it to those dates to get things finalized through the courts
Right.
because the boys disappeared.
But in your discussion with your attorney, did you guys, and I know John Skelton had an attorney as well, is that right?
Correct.
And so in the discussions between your attorneys, did you work out some Thanksgiving parenting time?
We did. We worked out some parenting time. I had agreed to allow him to have half of the Thanksgiving vacation. And then I would get them back on Black Friday.
And what time were you supposed to get them back?
Between 3 and 4 o'clock. I don't remember the exact time.
Okay. But if I said 3 o'clock, would that be?
Yeah.
Correct. So Thanksgiving's always on a Thursday. Did you have a phone call with John on Wednesday night?
I may have.
Okay. Do you have any recollection of arguing over him telling the children that you went to jail?
I know that I had a conversation with him on that Monday night, I believe it was, when the boys came home and told me. I called him, and he tried to say that they overheard him talking on the phone, and that he didn't mean anything by it, that they were listening and not where they weren't supposed to be or something. And I said, why are you even having conversations with someone on a phone like that when you have the boys with you? Why would you even do that?
Exactly.
So the kids asked you about that?
They told me
'Cause
that
he's
Daddy
late
said
in
that I
French.
went to jail.
And I assume you were upset about that.
Oh, just a little.
So he then takes the boys for the Thanksgiving holiday.
Correct.
And where did you spend Thanksgiving?
I went to my sister's house in Kunkel, Ohio,
Okay.
to do our normal family get together, make crafts and have fun, and
And did John try to contact you that day?
I think so. Yeah,
And did you talk to him?
not till that evening.
Okay. So you didn't want to be bothered
Well,
with Thanksgiving?
no,
There was
I
no
mean,
messages?
If it's an emergency, you can call me, but you don't need to keep texting me and blowing my phone up.
Right.
You're supposed to be spending time with your sons.
So later in that afternoon, did you eventually?
She is not allowed to have personal time. How dare she have a life outside of him? Doesn't she realize that she is not she? She is his. He took her, he claimed her, and now, she is an extension of him. Does she not realize her place in the universe? This is how this man thinks. I am entitled to her time. I am entitled to be the center of her universe. If I am not the center of her universe, she is up to nefarious things. She might be thinking, she might be getting out. Again, there is nothing more scary to, someone in this particular type of, dynamic than, thinking the fear that their, significant other is going to wake up and realize that there's a world out there, because there is. Dear God, there is. There's a world so giant, so huge, so full of new adventures. Do not stay if you are in a relationship like this. This is not love. Look, I've been there. I thought this was love. And I know how hard and how scary and how absolutely terrifying it is to take that first step. But take it. Look, just take it. Think about taking it. If you haven't ever thought about taking it, think about taking it now. And there are people out there that will help. There are so many. Do not be ashamed. This is not your burden to bear. It is not a shameful thing. Please think about it.
Will you have a conversation with him?
We did talk.
What'd you talk about?
I honestly don't remember. I'm sure I said something about blowing my phone up, and then the whole having to tell the boys, and I know that we had a fight on that phone that night. And I had told him, because he had asked me if I ever thought we could get back together, and I said, no, I don't think we can after what's happened this week. I don't know how I could.
Okay. And you think this was Thanksgiving evening?
Yes.
Okay.
The boys, Lady Tammy, were last seen alive 11/25/2010. So November, the day of Thanksgiving. 2 of them were seen in the backyard playing by a neighbor. That is the last time that the boys were seen by anyone but John. Now, they're in all of the wanderings, and if you watch the first video, our first stream, but I'm also going to make a murder board of kind of the timeline. I think I got everything written down. But once this hearing is over, it is 3 days, and I will be putting up a poll tonight. So everyone vote. If you want to, I know I made a commitment to the Stacy Rodriguez case, and I don't want to forget about that. But I am very intrigued by this case, but it is up to you guys. The Petty Express is, full of VIPs because you're all VIPs. So I will put up a poll if you guys would rather me tomorrow go back to the Stacy Rodriguez case, or if you would like to continue following this case, just let me know. Because, I love writing notes for this one, but we also have a lesbian love triangle that got me a call from school. So, let's talk about it. Again, if you just came in, and thank you, Sarah, for the super chat. Drinking lemonade homebrew. Ooh, I pulled out the hobnobs because I got into super nerd mode, which means I totally did not pay attention to anything I was doing today, and I'm pretty sure I had about half an order of hash browns today, which is terrible, not good. Do not follow me. I am not a life guru. I have no, inner wisdom to give. And I am, not the person to trust with this stuff. So I was like, crap, you suck at adulting. You forgot to eat again. So I'm over here like protein shake and a diet pop, which is going to totally make a Mentos explosion in my stomach. And probably wasn't the wisest choice, but it's a pain fog day. And, the wisest choices don't come easy on a pain fog day. Like, okay, don't tell nobody, Mr. Mo. We got to keep this between you, me on the DL. I may or may not have, if I were to confess to anything, OJ Simpson style, could have bought more cross stitch kits. But that is a total allegation of, hypotheticalness about everything that I just said. Welcome, Major Mom. The dad has had multiple stories now, very close to when the boys went missing in the first 72 to 4 days, because I can't do math, and that's a lot of mathing. John Skelton talked to his pastor and also had a sort of panic attack moment where he claimed that in a dream, his alternate persona, this internet persona that he had created, Joanne Taylor, had, he kind of explained it that he, in this nightmare, had tunnel vision. He saw himself next to a dumpster, and he saw Joanne pull the boys from the van and put them in a dumpster. He started saying he had heart palpitations. He was visibly sweating. It did look like a real panic attack. And he did actually shove one of the FBI agents, a female agent, to kind of get her to move to, he was emphatic that they needed to go check this dumpster. Unfortunately, that day, the dumpster had already been collected. The FBI and local and state police expended a lot of effort. The company that picked up the dumpster was very precise about where trucks were to go in the landfill. They looked in that area. They did not find anything of use in this case. And it was an exhaustive search. Again, they're kind of getting into things, but not getting too deep into things. So I'm not sure if we're going to get any more demonstratives or anything like this, or if they're saving a lot of that for possibly a trial. Again, this is my hope. I don't want John to get out. I think he is guilty as sin. I will admit my bias. I, like all the flippin' flapjack guilty. I have cursed too much already today. Thank you, Casey Anthony. You freaking swamp donkey hose beast. And why did I go Minnesota there for a minute? Maybe I am having a stroke. Giblets.
So what is your next contact with John?
I think I texted him either Friday morning, Friday early afternoon, wanted to know if I could pick the boys up earlier than the 3 o'clock.
And why did you want to pick them up earlier?
My dad and I were gonna take the younger grandchildren and go. And I had told him, because he had asked me if I ever thought we could get back together, and I said, no, I don't think we can after what's happened this week. I don't know how I could.
Okay. And you think this was Thanksgiving evening?
Yes.
Okay.
And she's holding it together because I am sure she relives saying that every second of her life. I'm sure it flashes at her, unexpectedly. I'm sure it hits her, she's at Walmart and she probably hears that. She probably feels the phone in her hand, the weight of that. The minute that she knew or didn't know that she struck the fuse. That moment is seared in her brain, you guys. I don't know how it couldn't be. And the brain is kind of a son of a bitch, if you ask me. I mean, no offense, creator and God and all that, but you kind of made us like, you know, chemoelectric anxiety machines stuck in a meat suit. Our brain is confused and crazy half the time, and it always seems to kick us right in the balls. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and warn everyone. Again, this is a high pain day. My filter is completely flippin' flapjack on. I am trying to be good. I really, really am. But it is what it is. So if anyone is offended, you're on the Petty Express. Look, y'all, I'm just aiming for purgatory. So you're here with us sinners. Thou art saved-ish. We have chocolate, y'all.
So what is your next contact with John?
I think I texted him either Friday morning, Friday early afternoon, wanted to know if I could pick the boys up earlier than the 3 o'clock.
And why did you want to pick him up earlier?
Interesting. I mean, I know my bias. I absolutely know that I have my bias on this one, but I would be interested in what, you know, is looking different to you, because like I said, I like to see different perspectives because I know I miss things, and especially when I have a proverbial hate eggplant for this man. So, like I said, hitherto unbelieved possible. In fact, Stephen Hawking's might be rolling in his grave. I dislike, hate, in fact, loathe, fulgurant loathe, John Skelton. He has surpassed my deep and abiding loathing for Kevin Spacey. Now, this has changed, I think, rules of physics in the universe. I did not think it was possible for me to do this. I did not think that, you know, could be toppled. But, and it might be temporary, but he has become front in line in my grudgery.
My dad and I were gonna take the younger grandchildren and go see if we could find clothing, apparel for my nephew's football team. He was playing in the state football finals at Ford Field.
He played for Hudson.
He played for Hudson.
Okay.
And so we were gonna go see if we could find them Hudson Tiger sweatshirts, because we only have Mersey Bulldog sweatshirts at our
Right.
house. So, and the boys were so excited. My dad would talk to them about going to watch this game, and that we were going to be inside and we didn't have to wear coats. They just couldn't understand that, because every football game they'd ever gone to was outside and it was cold. Right. So they were excited, and so we thought that would be kind of fun to take and go find orange and black clothes.
Gotcha. So what was John's response?
He said, well, we're not home right now. We went to my friend's house. We're north of Jackson. I don't know when we'll be home. I said, well, just keep in touch with me and let me know. And so we left it at that. Well, then I saw movement at his house. And
Now, let me stop you for a second.
I
You
have to
say you
say how
saw,
I saw movement
There you go.
out my kitchen window.
So where you were staying,
Where I was staying, between the neighbor's tree and house and across the empty lot, I could see his driveway.
okay.
I saw a vehicle pull in his house, and I saw two people come out and get in the car and leave. And well, that's kind of weird. So I messaged him. I'm like, hey, are you home? And he's like, no. And then that's when he tells me that, oh, actually, the boys aren't with me. I was home. The boys are with my friend. She's bringing them home at 3 o'clock. I'm on my way because I fell off the ladder. I'm going to the hospital. I don't know. I hurt my foot. I said, okay. And I knew he was doing some house remodel or something. So I didn't think anything about that he fell off a ladder.
Those two people, was that Kelsey Borowski?
I found out later that it was Kelsey Borowski picking him up to take him to the hospital.
And who is Kelsey Borowski?
She would be his cousin's daughter.
Okay. So she's taking John to the hospital?
Yes.
Okay. So 3 o'clock comes. Are there any kids?
No,
4 o'clock comes.
nothing. And my attorney had told me that, he said, now, right at 4 o'clock or 4:01, you don't need to be calling right away to report them, but I know you're gonna. He said, you gotta give them a little leeway or whatever, and I said, no, at 4:01, I'm calling, because something's not right.
Okay.
So I called, and I was told that emergency officer was
Who'd you call?
911.
Okay.
Emergency officer is not available, but we will have him get into contact with you when he gets back to town.
Okay.
Couple phone calls later, still not available, so my dad and brother-in-law take a drive, and they find Renzi's officer. And he said, it was Officer Hillard. He said, well, they told me to just get a hold of her later tonight. He goes, I didn't know.
Oh, hell's yes to this family. I love it. I love that the dad and the brother were like, the cop is not here. He's not answering your phone calls. Oh, we will go locate this cop for you. Oh, hello, Mr. Officer. We will need assistance now for children. This entire family. Because you don't doubt I would have everyone in my family out and about. And 401, yes ma'am, I would be calling because his insane ass already stole the kids twice. Yes, hell yes. Lawyer, I don't know who you're talking to. You're like, I know you're gonna. Well, yes, because she's a mama bear and she has an inner intuition. Yes, I understand that gut feelings are anecdotal and, not easy to explain, ephemeral and, possibly, hard to explain if you look at everything from a logos position. But there is a little bit to a great amount that should be placed on the fact that our mind is picking up more than we actually can perceive. It is looking at micro expressions. It is, sensing things. It is looking at entirely a giant amount of data, and how arrogant to assume that your brain is not doing more processing than you think, which is why you get gut feelings. I don't know why I have to explain science to, scienceologists, but you just look at it from a different lens. It's just a different calculation and a different network that's working. Think about it. Holy crap. No Filter Me is a genius. I need a TED Talk. Only I don't think you can do a TED Talk about Ramble. Must look at that later.
Know it was right away, and so then they explained what was going on, and he came right over, and that's when he went in the house to do a
Yes,
welfare check
She was.
and found mass destruction.
So were you with Officer Hillard when he?
I was not. I was, my aunt and uncle lived up the street, and so I went to their house, just because we all just had a bad feeling.
Okay.
And, I made the decision I didn't want to be there if
Something bad.
something bad was happening. So
So when the police went to enter this home, though, the home, was the back door wedged?
yes,
And so you.
when my sister and I went there and we kind of were walking around the house to see if we could see in, the only place we really could see in was the back door. And I still had a key for it, but I couldn't get the door open. We noticed that he had taken a 2x4 and wedged it against the door and against the steps that went up into the dining room so that you couldn't get in the house.
So did the police have to force their way in?
I understand that they did, yes.
Okay. What happened next?
He went through the house, did not find the boys.
Now, at some point, you find out that John had tried to commit suicide.
Yeah, and that's what I was just trying to think. Because I remember, I'm pretty sure I made that phone call for mom and dad, so I must have went back to my mom and dad's house. And I called to Fulton County Health Center, and I asked to speak to the nurse taking care of him. And the nurse, he said, well, are you two still married? And I said, yes, we're still married. I filed for divorce. And he said, well, technically you're still his wife, so I'm going to tell you. John is here because he tried to kill himself. And that was the first I heard that.
Okay.
And I said, okay, does he have 3 children with him? And I explained to them.
Now, according to the lead detective of the Michigan State Police, the cord twine-ish, rope that he used for all intents and purposes was laughable, is what the detective said. He quoted, or he basically said, I started laughing when I saw the picture because it was unbelievable that he wanted someone to buy that he was trying to shovel off this mortal coil by jumping off the balcony of the upstairs while David caradining himself with this twine.
My sons we can't find them. They're not at the house. John had them, claims they're the woman that had them, but there's nothing in it. He said, no, ma'am, there are no children here with him.
And did you relay this information to the police?
Yes.
And what did they do that you know of?
I know that Officer Hillard went down to Fulton County. And then pretty much the next thing that I heard, or that I can recall, Chief Weeks called and wanted to have a sit down, him and I. And I want to say it was like 1 a.m. or something. And so one of my sisters and I and my dad went to the police station to sit down. Chief Weeks said that this is, we have the Amber Alert, and in another couple hours, this is not going to look like Marinthy's police station because we have people coming in from all over.
To look for the boy.
And actually, an awesomeness that the police chief in this local town had the wisdom and the grace to accept that this was bigger than his, police station, and accept help. I'm looking at you, Delphi, you utter douche canoes. Is douche canoe a curse? Oh my God, if I gave up cursing for Lent. Look, that's impossible.
Look for your sons and find out what John did.
Now, over the next, I know this is difficult, and if you need to take a break, you just let me know, okay? And I think the court will understand. Over the next several days, there were obviously multiple search parties that were put out.
Yes.
Are you aware of that?
I was vaguely.
Okay. How were you getting updates?
Pardon?
How were you getting updates on what was going on?
There was an FBI agent that was assigned to come to the house periodically with updates. And there was also, I'm not going to remember exactly what her title was.
It's okay.
But she was kind of there.
I may try. This might utterly destroy my soul. But it might be good for me. But again, it might be genetically impossible. Look, or hair dye genetically. Now, I am not saying that I might, be positing the theory that the red hair dye has infected my brain and I now have redhead tendencies, or that I was always supposed to be a redhead. I'm not saying that, but I am saying that I'm starting to exhibit all the signs. The mouthiness. True that. I'm going to give something up and I'm going to try to be pious. Like I said, it's the people that are working on it and don't shout about it that are the people that are good people. It's the people that shout about it that are just, they're just a pill and a half. Or as we like to say, assholes.
There beside me pretty much through daytime hours.
Like victim services type person?
No, she was a doctor of psychiatry or something.
Okay.
And so she was just there with us and if I had questions or if we needed something, and she would help to kind of understand.
And bless them for bringing in a psychologist for the mom, you know, to answer questions, to, you know, be supportive. I know she's a woman that's made mistakes. I make no bones about it. I don't excuse her past. But what I think, and you know, the three agencies involved in this case, the FBI, the local police, and the state police, all investigated the ever-living Schnell out of this woman. If you don't think she was interrogated, if you don't think she probably had to pass a polygraph, if you don't think that they didn't, you know, ask, are you dating someone? You have this in your past, you're an offender, you know, were you touching the boys? Were you doing this? I am sure she was interrogated beyond belief. Because I am sure as soon as John said anything about an offender status, she was, you know, looked at with super suspicion. And I get it. I get it. But I also see a mom who's lost her 3 children. And 2 things can be true at the same time. She made a mistake, but it seems like she's atoned for it. You know, she served her time. She has, you know, kept up with her status and been, you know, faithful to doing all the things that are required of her. So, you know, I'm giving her grace because that's what we're supposed to do. I just have a hard time with douche canoes. Look, it's a personal issue. I cannot give up being an a-hole to douche canoes. That is not going to happen.
After the agents would leave, and if I had questions about what they told us or that type of thing.
So the children were on some medication.
2 of them.
Okay, who was that? Which 2?
Alexander and Tanner both had asthma and had daily pill that they had to take, and then they also had rescue inhaler and a breathing machine if things got really bad. And in this fall, it was...
Is the breathing machine a nebulizer?
Yes.
Okay. And did you find out at some point that that medication was still at the house on Congress Street?
Yes.
Did you also find out that the coats and boots of the children
Yes.
were given to John Skelton's aunt?
I did not know where they found them. I know that they came to the house to have me identify that that was their stuff, but I never knew where they found them.
Did you know that their toothbrushes were also?
No, I did not know about the toothbrushes.
Okay, you've learned that since.
Yes.
You learned about the curio cabinet being destroyed?
I saw that because they did take me to the house. They said, we know you didn't live here, but it hasn't been that long since you've lived here, and you might be able to point out things that might not be obvious, except that everything was destroyed.
Now, there was a suicide note that was written to you. You aware of that?
Oh, I know there was one written.
And I quote from John, "I'm sorry I hurt you again, Tanya, but this time I did it on purpose. I know you'll never be able to forgive me. God won't be able to forgive me. I'm going to Hades in a handbasket." I probably won't be clicking as much. I'm putting my feet up. I did, and thank you all for your generous support of this channel. With your support, I was able to get this kind of support chair thing that I can put on the bed, and Mr. Mo's monitor moves. So I should be able to stream on days like today when a storm front is coming through on my bed. It'll be a bed stream. Not in an icky way, though. Any hoozle, I just wanted to let you know why I have a change of scenery at the ATM. I'm using the cool kid lingo, right? Like ATM and BTW and 4 instead of 4 because we're all special needs now. You know what? Hey, Gen Xers, Gen Millennials, people that no longer want to accept their millennial, identity. We are all starting to write in cursive. through these young TikTokers who want to make fun of us. We have been through the battles. We figured out Napster. Well, not me. I didn't figure out Napster, but people figured out Napster. We figured out the internet. They made coins that don't even exist. We are taking things over. For the love of all that is Cheetos, we are writing in cursive. We are using analog clocks, and we are taking over. Boomers, move over.
And I've never seen it.
Okay.
Holy cow.
Were you told about it?
Payne Mo is apparently
Yes.
just a ranter.
In these updates, were you being told about the lies that John was telling about the different scenarios of where the children
I
could
don't
be?
think really in the beginning right away. I know it's
Hells
just,
to the
that time was so
yes.
foggy for me.
I understand.
Because I felt like I was living somebody's nightmare.
Right. It's okay.
And if you've been through something like this, or your own personal, universe explosion, you know how it feels to kind of be in that disassociated, is this my life? Is this my world? Whose world is this? This isn't my world. This isn't my reality. Someone is playing a joke on me, and if they could just stop, that would be great. I just need to wake up. And then slowly settling into, oh my God, this is my reality. I don't want this.
We only want you to talk about what you remember.
Yeah,
Okay. Remember in our conversations, we don't want to guess.
Right.
We only want to talk about what you know.
Correct.
Okay. At some point, and this was not very long after November 26, 2010, the FBI came to you and told you that your children are probably not alive.
Correct.
Do you remember that?
I do.
Did you want to believe it?
No.
Did you want to hold out hope that they were alive? Yeah.
And I did for quite a while.
So, at some point, this case gets turned over to the Michigan State Police. You have to say yes or no.
Yes.
And you meet Detective Sergeant at the time, Jeremy Brewer.
Yes, I did.
And I think you and Mr. Brewer became very close. Is that correct?
Correct.
And I think you had many in-depth discussions with Mr. Brewer about what happened in this case. Is that right?
Yes.
And at some point, you knew that your children were no longer alive.
Correct.
Do you remember when that was?
I don't remember the exact moment. I think it came on slowly, and that I logically.
It slowly sinks in, and then it breaks you. God dang it. Okay, back to angry. But it does. It sinks in so slowly. And then when that reality happens, whenever that, thing, whatever small thing that just puts it into reality happens. And for me, it's so embarrassing. Okay. Because I don't like feelings like out in public. Like having feelings out in public is like my worst nightmare. No, like I have told Mr. Mo there is ground for divorce. If he ever tells anyone in a restaurant that it is my birthday, I will divorce him on the spot. Okay. That is how much I do not like to be unless I'm being goofy, because if I'm in Mo mode, I'm totally okay, but like real actual feelings, that would be a hard pass RSVP no for that shit. Okay. So I was in Walmart. I love how this has just evolved into story time and tangent. I am so sorry, guys. It is what it is. I might actually end this stream after this story because this stuff is hard, and I love y'all, but I'm going to let you in on a little, just between you, me, and the from the windows to the wall. sometimes hard cases can affect, Hagatha, the left leg, and the artist formerly known as the good leg, my right leg. I'm making a symbol for it. It's mostly this. So I'm just letting you know I will probably end it after this story because, we're friends here and we got time. The Petty Express runs on, CRPS time, which is all out and out fuckery at this point. This winter has been the absolute fucking worst in my CRPS journey. Excuse my French. Although the French would surrender if, they wanted to do anything to me. Stereotypes. Anywhoozle, back to the story because I really don't want to deal with it. But I wanted to share because while I wasn't in the same position, I can explain how when it hits you, it is like you are a different person. In that moment, you can never go back. It is so real. But I was in Walmart and I was getting things for my middle daughter's first birthday. And, I was at the checkout lane and I swear to all that is holy, you guys, this hit me like a tsunami. Like I did not expect it because usually I can, brace myself and get some dark humor. But this poor cashier who was so sweet, by the way, I have been shown such grace and humanity that I know that there has to be something benevolent out there because I have been shown such kindness by people, by complete strangers, because I tend to have my emotional moments in public with retail people. I am so very sorry. But I remember her asking me, "What's this for?" And I said, "It's for my daughter's first birthday." And it hit. You guys, it knocked the ever-living poop out of me. And I started just bawling. And you guys, I don't like cute cry. It's not like that beautiful Meryl Streep like one. No, it is like, nose expanding. Oh God, that is a not great color for my eyeballs. I look like I have pink eye. Anywho, splotchy red, like sinus clogging, like keening, crying, and in a Walmart, and not even the good Walmart, but like the ghetto Walmart. Like I thought I was going to be on, what is it, Team World Star or whatever it is, like hysterical woman. But it hit in my reality that he wasn't going to see her first birthday. That all of her firsts he was going to miss. If you guys don't know, my first husband passed when my middle daughter was about 4 months old. And again, it's foggy. Like I don't remember a lot of times there. What I'm saying is I can deeply resonate with this woman. And regardless of her past, she is a mama in pain. And gosh darn it, my heart just goes out to her. Anyhoozle, I am going to let you guys go. I am going to make sure that I put up a poll. I may do it tonight or I may do it in the morning. I am not going to lie. My little feet are doing the cup thing, which is, not as... Look, I always wanted to be a ballerina. I always anticipated I was going to be more of the Fantasia animal kind of ballerina. But, my feet are, doing the thing. So I'm going to get out of here. I again apologize for the filterlessness. Thank you guys for the gifted memberships and the super chats to go into the swear jar because apparently I have got a debt that looks like our national debt. Pretty sure I'm up to like 8 trillion, gajillion. Oh, And also, in the coolest thing ever, Mr. Mo has shown me which external magical hard drive thingy-mabobbers that I need. So I'm getting one of those so I can back up every single thing I've ever made in case my computer gets gonorrhea herpesiphilitis. Because I did download the lyrics to WAP once, so I don't know the residual skanky ho-ness that a computer can take. I did delete it, but I am afraid that, it was something insidious. Any hoozle, I'm going to go. Because if I do not get off now, I will continue talking for like 18 hours on a tangent, and we will still never get this hearing done. It is impossible. Bye, you guys. Thank you so much. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, but carry a can of bitch fire because kindness doesn't equal doormat. Bye, you guys.